Hey guys, this is GalahadB again. Um, this time I'm bringing you another game between myself and PeterM. Only this time we've flipped sides, so I'm Free People and Peter is playing Shadow. And once again, we are still two of the top players on the ladder, but now Peter is rank 1 and I'm only rank 3, but we're still both the best Shadow players. Um, with some different styles. Like you will see me go, or at least open myself up more for a corruption strategy, while Peter usually starts with zero eyes. And you can see here that he actually also rolls zero eyes. So as Fellowship, uh, it's it's kind of a tough choice here because on one hand you see Shadow has no eyes, so that means he will move very fast on the military side of things, and you usually try to sprint against that, but you also need some sort of defense, or you might get run over before you get the chance to dunk. So I don't exactly love those Shadow Blitz versus Fellowship Rush games because it feels like you're not very in control as three people. Like you can't really defend because Shadow will be too fast for what you can muster up, and you have to hope you roll enough movement to dunk the ring on turn 7. So yeah, so that's what I'm thinking at the start of the game. I was really hoping for at least an army muster so I can move Eric to Old Forest Road and Edoras to Westernnet, because against Zero Eyes I can't afford to use a Will of the West to move armies around and only move the Fellowship once. And also with two musters, like I basically have to use a ring to change one of those two muster dice into either another movement, which will be safe and will get me to Moria, because he has no eyes allocated, or use it as an army muster uh, and move Eris to Westernnet, Carrick, Old Forest Road. And maybe, now that I see it, maybe the right play would have been to say, okay, I'll use this muster die, play Riders of Theoden, move twice against Zero Eyes, and then use a ring uh, and do a double army move from Edoras to Westernnet, from Carrick to Old Forest Road. The problem with that play is I see he has two musters. He can just get Saruman right away and then attack Forts of Eisen instantly. And if I don't immediately start by mustering Rohan, or actually even if I do muster Rohan right away with Riders of Theoden, use a ring, change this into an army muster, and get the guys to Westernnet, I would then also have to use the Will of the West to actually get them to Helm's Deep this turn, because the Shadow might easily attack Helm's Deep this turn. And there's no real threat of Gandalf either, because on one hand I've only drawn a single card, and it would cost me 2 dice to get Gandalf this turn, which both could be used to move the Fellowship safely against Zero Eyes. I feel like even if I could maybe get Gandalf this turn, if he musters Saruman right away, which he might not, he might just muster Isengard to war and then immediately attack, or maybe even muster another lead and then attack. And I can't really counter that unless I proactively and willingly forfeit a movement with a Fellowship, 2 movement actually, to beef up Helm's Deep some more. I don't know, maybe you do that, but I think here, okay, Helm's Deep will be tough to defend if he attacks this turn. So instead, let's try to move the Fellowship 3 times and defend elsewhere. So yeah, I move right away against Zero Eyes, why not? He musters Isengard, and he instantly musters Saruman. And that makes me think he either wants to muster up right away with his army muster die and then attack Helm's Deep, or he has Your Powers Rising. Either of those situations basically means Helm's Deep is kinda gone now. And again, against Zero Eyes, I feel like I can't really afford to do an army muster with this Will of the West and then use another ring, use a ring, just to get Edoras to Helm's Deep, which will probably not even hold. So I decide, no, it's not worth it to only move once against Zero Eyes, and maybe buy myself one extra turn, because I'm basically missing a whole turn if I don't move 3 times. Like if I move once against instead of 3 times this turn, I've basically also wasted a turn fellowship-wise, and that didn't feel like a good trade for me. So yeah, I continue passing. And yeah, I could get Gandalf here, but getting Gandalf means I use a ring, not move the Fellowship, and then use the Will of the West to also not move the Fellowship against Zero Eyes, just to get Gandalf. Maybe 1 turn sooner. Maybe 2, maybe 3. Maybe you do that. But I feel like I want to get my 3 safe movements now, and then hopefully next turn I can kill off Gandalf. Yeah. I don't know. I decide against it. And yeah, he does have a New Pulse Rising, which is the perfect card for this situation. Master Sauron. I move. And interestingly, he does not threaten Rohan right now. But he knows I'm basically safe on the Rohan front for now because not using a ring, move armies around against Zero Eyes. Yeah, and he blitzes me really hard. Yeah, and I play Riders here because I don't know what else am I gonna do with that muster. All help will come too late for the elves. North will not get involved, so maybe you muster the dwarves. Maybe Gondor. Yeah, may have been better than mustering up an Edoras, which will almost certainly come too late. And again, no army muster for me. He again did not roll a single eye. And once again, I'm faced with the talent. Like, I could get these guys to Westernnet. Then with the ring, get them into Helm's Deep. That means no chance of getting Gandalf this turn. And I will only move once against One Eye. Well, his military is progressing so rapidly that I'm thinking I can get another 3 moves here. I'll get 2 moves. And then if I get hit once, I can kill off Gandalf. And yeah, maybe that will be enough to stem the bleeding a little bit, like to at least make some rapid progress. Yeah. And I decide, okay, let's give up on Rohan and hope the other places go better than this. Maybe. Well, I can do that here. Yeah, I play power to great now. Well, Gandalf is still guide, so maybe I can draw into something. Like Thranduil's Archers, Celeborn's Galadrim, Eomer. All these cards might help. Yeah, he gets rid of it right away. And then besieges both Elven strongholds. And I move. And I use a ring to move again. Maybe kill off Gandalf. And indeed, I do get hit. I do kill off Gandalf. He musters up North, and at this point, yeah, like, Rohan will fall. And against that army, even if I get these guys over to Helm's Deep, it's probably not enough. But like this, I don't even get the chance to do that next turn. Because this army will be enough to score 1 hit easily. So at this point, I'm really hoping for him to roll more eyes. He again did not roll a single eye. And I roll 2 movement, which is about average. Like, I can't really complain about my my dice at all. but the fact that he did not roll a single eye means he's very, very fast. And I just, yeah. And again, I don't have a single army muster anyways, so it's tough. Like, would you prefer to use 2 rings to move armies around? At least 1 ring and sacrifice some more movement? That would mean I would not be at Path Calibrant, I would be at Moria. The 2 moves back, and Gandalf would not have died. Unless you separate Gandalf turn 1 to get him the game, but then you're still at Holland. While having a better Helm's Deep defense. Like you would have these guys in Helm's Deep instead. Gandalf would be sitting Moria probably. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. And on Peter's side, yeah, you go hard on Woodland Realm with a fairly small army, but you have the Southrons to back you up for airport. Things don't go too bad in Woodland Realm. Lorien is a little iffy, 8 HP against 5, that might not work out, or it might force him to use some extra die, and then Helm's Deep is also free. So that's 4 guaranteed victory points, basically, plus potential 2 more from Lorien. And then I'm really hoping that he does not draw into Cossairs, because right now I don't really see how I'm gonna defend that. This is another turn where I just want to run. I mean, there's an argument to be made to use these 2 muster dice to get Gauntlet to war, and maybe next turn muster up some leads in the Lamroth. But the problem with that is, what if he has Cossairs now? I mean, that's 4 out of 20. He might draw 2 more cards, he might cycle with the Witch King. Like a 30% chance that he'll get into Corsairs before I even have a chance to muster up this turn. So I decide, okay, let's run for it. I mean, I'm very fast with Fellowship. I'm hoping that I can dunk on turn 6. Maybe turn 7, and there's a good chance that he'll start to roll some eyes later on, and then I'll probably have enough time to dunk the ring. I hide with Strider. He moves the Southrons. That makes me worry a lot. He gets them to war, which is, yeah, to be expected. Get all nations active. And now, with this army at Umbar, Southrons at war, anytime he might have Cossairs in play. And you never know as free people, do I have time to get Gauntlet to war and muster up or not? I did draw into Caliborn, which is nice, but Lorien was the weakest attacking force anyway, so I would have rather drawn something that would help me elsewhere, but it's better than nothing. Book of Mazarvel, great card, but hard to get Fellowship involved to get them to war. And he does have the Cossairs already. So at least I'm glad I did not muster Gauntlet to war. But I'm also extremely worried now. So yeah, at this point I feel like, okay, only thing I can do is sprint and hope something goes my way. And he has another Deadly Strike for Woodland Realm, so he just finishes it off immediately. And expertly done, he uses Nazgul Strike to get the Nazgul from Woodland Realm to Dol Amroth, while also striking the Fellowship, which is safe. But he didn't really need to hunt me. Like, he wouldn't have minded to get a tile drawn out of it, but the more important thing was to use a Palantir to get the Nazgul around, and then attack with this remaining character die. But he will be on 4 victory points before I even get a chance to get to Mordor. Yeah, and he plays Orc Patrol here because he knows. Like, he needs to erase me, and as long as Strider's Guide revealing me doesn't actually do that much, So just try and be as fast as possible with the military and TS before I get the chance to draw into Kirdan or Imrahil. Yeah, very fast. But the plus thing side is it's turn 4. I might make it to Mordor this turn. And he's only at 4 victory points. But he's actually at 6 because there's no way I can defend Helm's Deep, like I said. Like, even if I move to Westernnet, immediately he will start to besiege Helm's Deep with that army. Then Rohan won't even be at war. I could not even play something like Help Unlooked For because the attacking army would not be at war. But with only a single regular in Helm's Deep, that wouldn't even do too much, and I don't have it. So, yeah. So he's at 6 victory points. But I'm thinking, well, Erebor might be troublesome for him. And Lorien is really hard to take now. So Erebor and Lorien might stall the game for long enough. Because he will have 6, he will get Olgier and Dale easily, so he'll be at 8. But the final 2 victory points might be a little more tricky to do. Because Rivendell, I can muster that up. Althardor. Erebor is fairly beefy. Like, if I get single army movement at some point, then the regular from Iron Hills will be there. Maybe if he attacks Dale, these guys can also retreat Erebor. And maybe I draw Dane. So, yeah. So, the first time, Peter actually rolls eyes. And I get 3 movement, which is great here. Even against 3 eyes, I don't mind. I don't mind taking a hit. I just need to get to Condor this turn, to Mordor this turn. The reveal doesn't really matter. I have a die to hide. Yeah, he takes Polygear. He besieges Helm's Deep. I run into Mordor, hoping for reveal. I don't get reveal, which is not great. Yeah, and he takes Dale now. And crucially, my guy survives. And so at this point, what do you do? There's basically only 2 options. Option 1 is you try to play it safe against Cruel Weather. He has a 5 out of 24 chance to have it in hand right now. And he has a die he can play it with. So you make it into Mordor guaranteed. And then, yeah, the problem with that play is with 2 rings at his disposal, he can then just straight up besiege Erebor from Dale and reinforce it later on with the Woodland Drum army, locking this Iron Hills regular out of Erebor. And that's actually a big deal because if I get the regular from Iron Hills to Erebor, not only will I have 7 HP instead of 6, I will also roll 7 dice instead of 6. And I will keep 7 dice for the first 2 hits that I sustain because I can downgrade to elites. And that might also inflict more casualties. And while playing it safe against Cruel Weather is good, sometimes you don't really have the luxury to play it safe. Sometimes you need to risk it. And if they have it, they have it. You lose the game. Okay. But sometimes if you play around it too much, you lose the game anyways because you wasted a die that you may have put to better use elsewhere. And so I feel like this one regular from Iron Hills might make the difference between holding Erebor or not, which would buy me a whole extra turn. And so I decide to not play around. Oh, and right, I think he was at 0 cards last turn, or at some point last turn. So he only drew 2 cards afterwards, and it was very unlikely that he actually drew into Cruel Weather. And yeah, he did not have it. If he had it, then I would have just straight up lost the game. But this doesn't mean I win the game now, it just means I have a much better chance of maybe winning the game. Like, I still need to roll a bunch of movement, which I'm even at. Like, I'm -1 on wills, but +1 on Cs, while Peter's -3 on Is. I want him to roll a lot of Is or Palantirs, or tons of musters. I want to roll a lot of movement and dunk the ring turn 6. Like, it's impossible for me to dunk on turn 5, but I feel like him winning on turn 5 might also be somewhat tricky. I mean, yeah, maybe not, but the thing is, Helm's Deep, like I mentioned, is free, so he's at 8 victory points. There's no real chance of me reclaiming anything. The North's not even at war. Well, it will be once he besieges Airborne, but still. Can't muster up in Carrick until he attacks Airborne. And even then, yeah. Well, let's see the rules. Single eye, Peter, die roll, free movement, which is great. And the question here is, we prove the Swifter. And I can use that to use a character die, move Gandalf around, and then use another character die, or much rather the Will of the West, and get Gandalf into Erebor. The downside to that is I give up 2 of my movement dice to get Gandalf to Erebor, which will slow me down for a full turn, because that means I'll only move once this turn. Maybe twice if I give up my last ring. That means I'll probably only be on step 1 or step 2, 0 rings, and it means it's almost impossible to dunk on turn 6. So separating, or not separating, but getting Gandalf, Erebor, needs to buy me more than 1 turn to basically break even. And I feel like I don't think it will. Like, I might still lose that siege because you could get Mouth of Sauron involved. Yeah, I don't know. I decide not to do it, and that trusting in the power of the dwarves, because I have some pretty good defensive cards, right? I have 2 shield walls, 2 advantageous positions. I'm thinking there's a very good chance that Erebor will hold, because he does not have a lot of attacking dice. Like, this die gets Mouth, then he's left with 2 attacks, plus a ring, that's 3 attacks. Unless he has ground. In which case Erebor was likely doomed. But again, I mean, it's 7 HP. His force is only 11 HP, that's not nearly twice as big. With that regular, it's 12 HP, but still, that's reasonable odds that I might win that fight. I decide to just run. Don't risk stride on a 2, I need his reveal, his side ability. Yeah, he takes on Helm's Deep, of course. I hide with Strider. And he has half orcs, which means both ground and fighting Uruk-hai would really kill me here. And an extra 2 HP also means that he now has 13 HP army against 7 defense, which is very, very good. I definitely move one more time. Now the question is, he left Dale completely open. So if and the north, we actually forgot to move it down, but the north is at war. Is there's north regular, Erebor, and when he attacked Erebor, that was an attack on the north army, which pushes the north down to 4. Like, the north was here, Dale gets attacked, it's here, Dale gets conquered, it's here, and then Erebor gets attacked with a northern army unit in Erebor, so the north is actually at war. I think we spot that in a second. So I can certainly stall it for one more turn. Well, almost certainly stall it for one more turn. If I do double army move Carrick to Old Forest Road, and something else, doesn't really matter, and then use a ring to move from Old Forest Road to Dale. And that will almost guarantee me to see turn 6. But it does not make it very likely for me to dunk next turn, because that means I will enter turn 6, in which I definitely need to dunk. Revealed, only 5 dice, and with not a single ring. So I need to dodge 2 reveals and a red tile, which I guess is reasonably likely, but I also need to roll 3 natural movement, which is about 50%, I guess. So maybe I can do that. I feel like the odds of winning that battle in Erebor good enough to not use my last string. Because I lose turn 6 no matter what, almost. Like there's almost no way. Love to see turn 7. The only question is, can I live to see turn 6 or not? Yeah. The thing is, if I move Carrick to Old Forest Road and to Dale, I'm very likely to see turn 6. Like, there's a world where I don't. Like, if he has Fighting Uruk-hai or Ground, he can just use that to take Erebor and then use a ring, take Dale, or he does not have that. He might use the Mustard Eye with the ring and attack Erebor, and then maybe draw into Black Captain commands, which he could use for Palantir to then attack Dale afterwards. So even taking Dale is not guaranteed to see me live to turn 6. And it decreases my chances of success significantly. Like, I only need to roll 2 movement next turn if I move again. And I would still have a ring. I don't really care about more reveals anymore. Yeah. I didn't do the math, so maybe I should have, I don't know. And I decide, yeah, I trust in Erebor Fellowship again. Get revealed again, which would have been bad if I had moved Carrick to Dale. Because I needed to dodge a double reveal, or else I would not have a single chance in the world to win. And yeah, Peter does what he has to do and tries to win the game on turn 5. Yeah, he starts with Dread and Despair, which is interesting to me, but I guess it makes sense. Because this army is not that strong and he has to press all the way down. So he has to limit the number of casualties he's taking. Does not hit, neither do I. So that's good for me, because it's basically a free hit for me. Yeah, the timing is slightly off, I guess, but I could not afford to not play a card on turn 1. Even though if he had Dread and Despair, it was fairly likely that he would play it. The shield wall against Cruel's Death is also good. and seeing this advantageous position wouldn't even have done anything. 2 hits on both sides, which is good for him. Shadow, you're fine with even trades. 3 people you really try to hit more than the Shadow does, if at all possible. And this I timed great. Umakil running into advantageous position. He only gets 1 hit, but I didn't get a single hit. And that means, and that is so brutal. Like, he got 1 hit, and with 7 dice, I failed to hit just once, which means he will get an extra trigger from Umakil. Yeah, and I was very sad on seeing that. And at this point, he has a large enough army. He can press once more. He needs 3 hits and 2 rounds of combat. That's pretty doable there. It's a desperate battle. And he gets all the hits he needs. And yeah, that's how I lost the game on 10-5. And maybe it was a mistake to abandon the sheer defense like I did, because I really didn't defend anywhere, really. Just counting on the fact that he would not be able to win as fast as he did. I can show you the stats here. As you can see, he's -3 on eyes, which is great for him. On the flip side, he's +5 on Palantirs, which you really don't want to be. But he made very good use of it. He could use almost every Palantir in an efficient way. I'm very low on army musters, which was a problem because that meant that I could not defend Helm's Deep, which would have at least bought me 1 more turn, I guess, if I had done that. I'm even on moves, which is fine. Can't complain about that. And it would have been impossible to dunk on turn 5, really. That I've never seen that happen, though it's, I guess, technically possible. And with the rolls, it's fairly even. I'm -2 on 5s, which was a big deal in that Arabo fight. Just imagine if I had gotten my expected 2 hits against this Mumakil turn, and he would have gotten 1 hit instead of 2. Then maybe things would have been different. But I mean, he's also -1 on 6s, so yeah, nothing really to complain about. It's just I felt like with how few eyes he had, I felt like I have to run as fast as I can. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe even against this few eyes, you need to focus a bit more on defense. But it's also hard to use these standard muster actions efficiently. Like, what can I do when he's pressuring everywhere at once? Like, I never really had the chance to muster up anything. I was always, yeah, unsure what to use these muster dials on, so I decided, yeah, okay, let's them to move the fellowship around. But yeah, that did not help me win that game, unfortunately. So yeah, that was a very quick game. I think also very interesting. And I haven't really touched too much on how he did that. But that turn 1 Yopaz Rising really set him up so well. Like he suddenly had an 8 HP army in Moria threatening Morian or even Rivendell, which I thought you might actually go for Rivendell. That's slightly easier to take than Lorien, 1 HP less. While also pressuring Helm's Deep and running Dol Guldur up to Realm. But it does still hinge on the fact that you need Death of Umbar. If you don't get those, you can't win on turn 5 really. As soon as you attack Palagia, then Ghana will be straight to war and can reinforce Dol Amroth. And it also takes a lot more actions to get there. Considering he's only drawn a third of his deck, it was it was a little fortunate for him to draw into that, but I mean, not crazy fortunate. It's one of the things that can always happen, and that yeah, that maybe should have possibility alone maybe should have brought me more to the idea that I need to defend more, prevent the Lamroth from costing me the game. He never moved a single army in Mordor. And if you can see, he did it with his last die possible. So he couldn't really do anything differently, or we will go to turn 6, and then I would have had excellent chances to win the game. Like turn 6, I think I don't know, 70, 80% favorite to win, because I only need single move now, plus a ring. There's no red tiles in the pool. I have Strider guiding. Will not take a random unless he rolls like 5 eyes. And even if I roll a random, it's very unlikely to hit Strider. Yeah, just needed one more turn. Maybe back to Dale. Maybe. I don't know. But then, as I said, I would be down a ring, and I would be in this position instead. And instead of, like, what, 80, 90% chance to win, suddenly only, at best, like a 45% chance to win the game. That didn't feel too good. But anyways, yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll try to keep up the pace and do some more videos soon. Bye bye!